I've been on the road today, but I could not miss the opportunity to recap Enric Mas' psychological warfare against Tadej Pogacar in the heat in Valencia from Alcocebre to Castello. We have a hilly medium mountain stage, nearly 3,000 meters of elevation gain, just up and down all day. But the last climb is the Puerto El Bartolo. We have gravel, steep rampas, irregularity. It's a goat track. Cuesta de Cabra. It's everything I want from the Vuelta. And there's a break up the road, Santiago Buitrago, who, by the way, is always good in Valencian rampas. If you look at February races, he's in the break, so Peo Bilbao doesn't want Wout van Aert and Ramses de Bruyne bridging across. They bridge across regardless. Ramses de Bruyne's the best place in the breakaway. Perhaps that's why the Decathlon weren't happy about missing it. He's on 4 minutes or so. More attacks come, but the gap's 30 seconds. Pogacar and UAE are happy with the break. They start to filter into moves with Oscar only as well. And then a chase group forms with Pogacar in it. So that doesn't go anywhere. Brought back. Break of the day is established. Van Aert's in it for the intermediate points, which he takes uncontested. De Bruyne and Santi are in there for GC and the stage win. But UAE start chasing. So we see they never get a leash of more than 2 minutes 50. Almeida paces the first rep of the Puerto El Bartolo Colón, but then they don't got the gravel path this time. That's a special little aperitif for the second repetition. The break loses a bit of morale and they start to play around, probably because they know they're not going to win the stage anymore. J Vine starts to smash it with 7Ks to go. It's not that long a climb, still 7Ks, 9% average. Jano Widar under pressure. He'd lose 3.5 minutes today. Torres then takes over with over 5 kilometers to go for Pogacar as the last mountain domestique, but the steep ramps are at the end. 2.5 Ks left. De Bruyne keeps trucking like he did in Andorra, like he did in all of his good results so far this year. They turn right, and here Pogacar with 3.8 Ks, and it's 4 Ks for him. He's already alone, and the group's not whittled down that much. It's still the top 10 guys there. And so he has to make the pace for his attack himself, which normally is no bother, but only decides to follow. And you see it's irregular. Now it's downhill, high speed. You know, the guys are getting a bit of a draft off him. And so he hasn't squeezed people off as quickly as he might have thought. Then he gets to a 20% section. He obviously drops everybody, but it probably wasn't the way he would have drawn it up. It's not the way they normally execute it, where it's a high pace. Like in Andorra, for example, Mühlberger dropped everybody but Pogacar and Goal, and then he just went away and job done. But he gets across to De Bruyne. We've seen the script before. Goal maybe entered the gravel in bad position. He works his way across to Carapaz, Onley, and Roglic, but Enric Mas has dropped them all. So very hot conditions today. Guys missing bottled points. The cars weren't able to follow them on the gravel climb. And Enric Mas was in his element. We're in the hot weather. We're in August in the Vuelta. We're in some ridiculous climb that's super steep. And he's dropping all the podium contenders. And Carapaz only was interesting because only followed Pog. Paid for it. Shouldn't have done that. Then Carapaz goes ahead of him. And then Pog also starts to suffer, but then Only goes back ahead of Carapaz. But then you'll see Carapaz later. He drops Only somewhere. I don't know if it was the descent. I don't know if it was on the uphill. The two strongest were Goal and Roglic behind Mas. So the three guys were pretty clearly better than the rest, apart from Pogacar. But then this is still the climb. They do a proper descent and then turn like this actual goat track. And I was like, hold on. Have they cut out some footage? Because Enric, I timed, was not far behind in that left-hander. And then we see the overhead shot. He's 5 seconds behind Tadej Pogacar with 500 meters left on the climb. So Pogacar has stalled, perhaps paying for having to go too early, perhaps just the ramps. He accelerated too much to get rid of the other guys who were on his wheel. Or, he said afterwards, he just didn't know that Enric was in the gap. His information was that Roglic and co were on 30 to 40 seconds. I'm going to choose to believe that Enric absolutely destroyed and mogged Tadej Pogacar today and sprints past him. Do we even call this a dropping? Because he takes the 6 bonus seconds at the top. Thank you very much for coming. We've got to take our wins where we can get it, and even if it's not the case, because you don't often see someone catch Pogacar and then actually beat him for an uphill sprint for some bonus seconds. So Enric Mas, perhaps emboldened by what just happened, decides to patron. He Lil Bros Pogacar here. He Lil Bros him. He says, calm down. This descent's pretty sketchy. But then on the first left hand, you see the dust in the corner. Enric's bike, he wobbles a little bit when he brakes, and he goes straight, nearly crashes. Oh, it doesn't nearly crash, but not the most confident corner. So Pogacar's like, you can't little bro me. I'll show you how to descend down this goat track. But Pogacar's too fast. Look at how wide Enric tries to get into this right-hander so he has more escape or wiggle room if it doubles back on itself, because some of these are blind corners that really go at 90 degrees and double back on themselves. Pogacar's going middle, and that's fine, it's faster, but if a corner doubles back on itself, you got less wiggle room, and he runs too wide here, can't straighten up in time, chooses to go, he has an exit, so he just takes the exit into the rock garden or whatever it is. He's lucky he doesn't puncture. It looks like it's not grass. There's probably rocks and all that nonsense in there and dust, but he holds it up well. But I think Enric was in his head, and Enric's baited him with the don't go too fast down the descent. So no harm done. Those two get together. They start working really well. Pogacar obviously can still win the stage. Enric can move up big time on GC. Roglic and Gol and De Bruyne were only 15 seconds back. And then there's a fourth group with Kuss, Rodriguez, Only, Schelmoser, Roglic, Gol are working really well. Tadej gets across. He's asking for water immediately. I think a lot of the guys were thirsty, but look at Enric. They take it out to 30 seconds, 1 minute 45 to the rest. He's up to 3:30 in GC, moving up to second in the virtual general classification, plus the 6 extra bonies at the finish. So he works full gas to the finish, second strongest today by far, or maybe even the strongest. Tries to get the jump on Pogacar, doesn't work unfortunately, and Pogacar wins his third stage of the race. But really good result from Enric Mas. Entertaining final, I would say. No one had a puncture on the gravel, which was good. Those two taking 46 seconds out of De Bruyne, Carapaz, Tadej, Gol, Roglic. 1 minute 38 back to the Schelmoser Kuss group. Here's what Pogacar had to say.
I was just really surprised on the top. He flew past by me like a rocket. I was not expecting, because I heard in the radio that I'm leading for, 40 seconds to second chasers. And was no mentioning of on Enric, so he passed me. I was a little bit shocked, and I was sure he knew the downhill, and then I was just happy with him to be in the last 10 kilometers into the headwind, because I had no water. It was nice to have a compatriot next to me, and then in the end I knew that I can beat him in the sprint, but I still appreciate that he commit full, and I also commit full to the finish line. So chapeau to him, and it was a great race. Voila. Thank you.
In terms of GC, a lot of changes in this medium mountain stage. Mas now 3:34 behind Pogacar, who extends his lead to everybody else. But yeah, Mas 50 seconds ahead of Roglic. Roglic has still got 30 seconds on Carapaz and Gol. Plus he's got the TT coming up. Kuss loses out of the top 5 for now, and he's quite a bit off the podium. Really enjoyable stage. Hope you enjoy the video. See the recap tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.